Hello folks, this is Steve AB for you. I'm up late, upset stomach. I just got up and had some yogurt to try to settle it down. Yogurt is my pacifier before bedtime. Nothing in this episode is a promotion nor is a recommendation, but it's kind of a continuation of something I put in an episode this past week. Remember I said I walked to my mailbox and there was a letter there and I opened it up and it says, "Your data has been stolen from our computers." And I came in and I showed you that in the hacking news, that was the news of the day. Trilliant reports customer data breach after third-party cybersecurity attack.
We begin tonight with a data breach.
Let me try again. Let's see if I can.
We begin tonight with a
Let's see if
data
I can
breach.
kill this and get to the meat of the story. You know, I don't own a television. This is a news for a television station. I haven't owned a television in over 20 years. Why waste my time? First television program I ever watched on our own home television, which we just bought, I recollect was 1954. After a while, you get tired of the repetition. You know, they say there are only 3 or 4 or 5 actual storylines in all stories written like that. Guilford County, they push. Guilford County, a triad-based credit union is looking at a recent data breach. Trilliant is one of its old vendors said some personal information got out, hacked, stolen. Letters have started going out to people who could be impacted. See, like me going to the mailbox earlier this week. A Trilliant Federal Credit Union spokesperson says a data breach happened at the end of April. Now, if I go like this and I say search, branches in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, and I go Asheboro, North Carolina, East Dixie Drive, North Fayetteville Street. That one on the North Fayetteville, it's in the Food Line Shopping Plaza. That'll be a separate Food Line. I found out something interesting about that, but that'll be a different video. In a very recent video, I actually showed you the Trilliant building. Why don't you go back and look at that? Oh, there's a picture of it, right there. And that's it. That's the one on East Dixon Drive. So it's similar to the picture, but you see the name. So the point is that what I'm saying is, from what applies to us locally, when you read about this hacking stuff and the big letters going out and all, it's usually somebody far, far away. But twice in a week, it's coming home to Asheboro, right? Once in my case and once in whoever does their money business there. Well, when I started digging into this, I thought with my wandering mind, I thought it was more fun than watching television or going to the movies. Except for the couple of boring movies, I haven't been to a movie theater in the last at least 15 years. I might have been into a movie theater to see a boring movie 3 times, maybe only twice. No television, no movie theaters. I have the internet. I have the web. Okay, so then it says, the spokesman said a third-party company, Doxim, is responsible. And then some other person called Trinity Solutions Incorporated says it's not Trilliant's fault, but Trilliant's name is still in it because of this company here. So let's go look at this company. Because you know, the thing about search engines is that it lets you travel for free. Now, I'm repeating what happened when I did this myself. I want to point out something. You see over here on the right side, Doxim Software Company, Doxim.com, subsidiaries, Level 1 LLC. I wonder what, I didn't look at that before. I know of Level 3, that's an internet backbone company. Direct Technologies, but it's the third one that will come up again. Laser Print Plus Incorporated. Remember that I pointed out Laser Print Plus. So let's go to their site. Now let me read it to see if you can figure out what their business is. I had trouble. This seems like there's certain specialized companies, their websites, you can't directly figure out what it is they do. Experts in document and customer communications management for regulated industries. Now, I can see there's a YouTube video, but I'm not going to go there. Experts in document and customer communications management for regulated industries. What do they mean by regulated industries? Oh, wait a minute. Banking is a regulated industry, right? Our software and technology enabled managed services address key digitization one of the banks that I do business with, have accounts with, is about to show us their completely redone website. You know, you do your banking online. I wonder if they mean that. But operational efficiency. What operational efficiency does Doxim specialize in? Now that means, I'm thinking, a bank may have lots of customers and there's certain things they have to do over and over and over and over and over again for each and every customer, like every month. Does your bank communicate with you every month? Does your credit card, I don't know if the credit cards are highly regulated industry, but do they communicate with you every month? And if they have 1 million customers, do you think they need to be efficient? Think about that. See, I'm trying to interpret what these people do for the bank. Our software and technology-enabled managed services, why would the people who run the teller booth and window, drive-up window, know anything about how to send out the statements every month? You would think that would be a totally different operation, and especially, see, I'm expanding it for you. And customer experience challenges through a suite of plug-and-play. What does that mean? We have the solution 100% solved. You buy it from us, rent it, and it plugs into your computer system. Plug and play. Integrated software, SaaS, software as a service, and technology solutions. For over 20 years, we've been delivering, and here's the word again, regulated communications in physical and digital formats. What would be a physical format? The paper statement that comes in your mailbox by way of the post office. Regulated communications in physical and digital formats. Can you log into your credit card company? Do they send you a statement every month in the mailbox? As experts in print, mail, and digital communications, and see, their point is this. We'll handle those three physical things, show you how to do it efficiently, give you today it usually is the software and other training, whereas you might think that the printing is separate from the mailing, is separate from the online. We do it in all one box. I'm guessing. Your customers will enjoy a seamless experience in their delivery channel of choice. You notice how they want you to go print free, or what do they call it? So I wondered who these people are. And as soon as they did that, you can't see it, it's under my head. It's a certain style company that has this little thing down here. Hi there, welcome docs, and can I help you find something? Remember when I would do those Israeli companies and stuff, they'd have those popping up. And I didn't like their website for the way this behaved. Leadership, I always go, who are the people in charge? Because then you can usually find out what they're really up to. See, you did it again. I'm trying to tell it to go away. Stop bothering me. This guy is the CEO. He's a tenured and innovative. What is the... I don't ever remember anybody who's been at it a long time calling himself tenured. Usually it's like a tenured professor at a university. What does that mean? You come in, you're on probation. Then you become an assistant professor. And then you become a tenured professor, right? Which means that theoretically the university can't just tell you to get lost. At least it used to be. Tenured and innovative SAA leader. He holds extensive experience in the customer communications management industry, serving highly regulated markets. See that phrase again. Highly regulated markets. He was previously the revenue officer, but now he's the president. World class. Patting himself on the back. Now, look at what kind of name that is. It sounds like something you would drink. I don't know if the spelling's the same. Kokoska. What kind of name do you think that is? I'm always fascinated by America's the melting pot. People have come here from all over the world. My guess is that it's Polish or something close to that. But it says here he's overseeing DocSim's overall financial strategies and leading the global finance organization alongside the... So you see that has treasury, debt acquisitions, treasury management, multinational tech. That could be the kind of services they provide too. highly regulated things where you bump your head against multiple government agencies of various countries. I'm guessing. They don't come straight out and say it. But he went to Endicott College and he went to Merrimack College. Is that the one in Massachusetts on the Merrimack River? North Andover, Massachusetts. Merrimack College on the Merrimack River. No, I didn't look. It's a private Augustine university. What does that mean? Does that mean it's Catholic? I'm straying, but this is the way it goes. The search engine, I know it's behind my head. Hang on. St. Augustine's in Raleigh. There you go. I used to drive by St. Aug's every day, but it's not Catholic. St. Aug's is not Catholic. I think it's more like Presbyterian. Something like that. What was one of the very first church organizations in North Carolina? Presbyterian? Where did I learn something like that? From the internet? No. From the North Carolina Highway Historical Markers, where I went and found more than 1,400 of them over about 5 to 6 years. Weekend stuff before the search engines were as good as they are now. Oh, we're off the track. See, that's the way I work. All right, now this guy named Beal, Chief Revenue Officer, 25 years experience in customer communications management, oversees all revenue generating activities and works closely with Chief People Officer, he hires and fires. Svensson, does that sound like his family may have come from Scandinavia sometime way back? Operations, 20 years of progressive experience in the print industry. That'll come into play. What did I say? How do you get your monthly statement? Do you actually go into the bank and pick it up? No, it gets mailed to you. Or now, it gets sent to you by the internet as a PDF. Or, right? Numan Mufti is responsible for successful delivery of DocSim solutions from requirements gathering to deployment. So he's the one that comes to visit your company's bank's president, introduced to the people who have to have help, and he's the guy on site that gets you into the swimming pool. By looking over I'm guessing. I wonder if he's got a LinkedIn page we can see. I'm interested to know what his education was with that last name. He's in Nevada. University of Toronto. That doesn't surprise me at all. No, he's Canadian. But Mufti. What's a Mufti? What's a Mufti? Remember, I'm very Middle Eastern. What's a Mufti? There's Mufti Clothing Company, Mufti Menk, Zimbabwean speaker, Mufti Tariq Musad, Mufti Salman Ahzar, Islamic scholar. What's the meaning of Mufti? The word Mufti means judge in Arabic. The Hebrew word would be Dan, D-A-N. There's a Hebrew book, there's a Tanakh book called Danim, the Judges. Shimshon was one of the early judges, meaning settling the fate of the growing. The secondary meaning of Mufti is ordinary clothes. Oh, the Mufti Clothing Company. I'm learning as I go. When they're worn by people who usually wear a uniform, he's in Mufti. He's in Mufti. He's actually a general, but he's sneaking around behind the lines. He doesn't want to be discovered because he's on a diplomatic mission to get the other side to cease fire or to surrender. But they don't want to see that he's a general, so they put him in ordinary street clothes, and the idiom is in mufti. I haven't thought of that phrase since I was maybe a teenager. Oh, so a soldier wearing civilian clothes might be said to be in mufti. But a mufti is also a jurist who interprets Muslim religious law. You know, what I like is, in many ways, it kind of pulls all those things that are in my head from all of my life experience. This guy is security and infrastructure, so he's the one to blame for the stuff that got stolen. He is the Senior Vice President of Security and Infrastructure. He's responsible for directing security, data processes, and network communication, and managing all information systems to ensure compliance across the organization. So he doesn't deal with the customers. He's an internal one, and he's the one that screwed up. Because it said stuff was stolen from inside of them. Mohawk Data Services. And then I got to her. She's Vietnamese. No, I'm not a genius at guessing. I've known someone with that family name. Customer success and postage optimization. We'll get back to the... Lisa is the Senior Vice President of Customer Success. They make up these titles. I can't get over it. Lisa's responsible for satisfaction, loyalty, and advocacy. Oh, so if it sounds like the customer wants to get the hell out because they're unhappy with you, she gets in there and sweet talks them. But including her concurrent role, she has two hats. Don't let the customers get unhappy and leave. Get in there and make them come back. And postal optimization, mailing efficiency. Executive chairman, who cares? So this one led down a path that was interesting. As Senior Vice President of Product and... All right. When I was in college, there was a young guy in my class who was a refugee from Vietnam, that's back in the Vietnam era, who was, I'll say it clearly, a genius. Especially if you were to go and look at how he ended up. Senior Vice President of Product and Solutions Consulting, GUM, that's her personal name, accelerates Doxim's product strategy by leading roadmap development and execution. What does that mean? Finding new customers. What should we do next? Who should we buy next to add to our portfolio so that we're the leader? Remember, I'm an idiot running my mouth. This is my interpretation of what this highfalutin wording means. By leading roadmap development and execution in alignment with business goals, client feedback, industry trends, and overall market opportunity. That's what I just said. Only I said it in fewer words. She brings deep domain expertise. What does that mean? in the stuff that she looks after, you probably couldn't find another person with that kind of IQ, knowledge IQ. She brings deep domain expertise in defining technology-enabled managed services solutions for highly regulated markets. Now, she used to work for some other company for 9 years, with emphasis on omni-channel communications. She's got a bachelor's degree in science technology from Queen's University. All right, so she's Canadian too. So she immigrated by way of Canada. I'll bet you she was born in Vietnam. So then I decided to search on her name. See what LinkedIn did? She supposedly has LinkedIn. So they got messed up. Isn't AI smart? Look at what it did. Look at how it... Why didn't they just change that dash to an I and see if they could search on that? I'm not making fun of her name. I'm making fun of LinkedIn. Microsoft is owner of LinkedIn. Let's do a search on her name. So they know, the search engine knows, and they've got images, I think. Yeah, so they got those images. But those are all from the company website. And then it gets to doing this. It gets into fangs, F-A-N-G. You see her name? Gum, like gums in your mouth. And if you put the F-A and the N-G, which are names together, you get gum fang. You see how smart the AI search engine is? Can you see the fang here on this thing that you put on your gums? Isn't the search engine just a genius thing? I'm not making fun of her. So she came in fairly recently, May 25th, 2023. Gum Fa Nung has accepted the role of Senior Vice President of Product and Solutions Consulting, Detroit, Michigan, May 25th, 2023. She brings a wealth of, it's just going to repeat what's there. So then I go, some people, it goes on and on and on. So there's this thing, the org.com, and they know about her. ZoomInfo knows about her. LinkedIn supposedly knows about her. Whoever PR Web is, there's her picture. Now watch what happens. Now look at this. Toothpaste, my cat, dox him, cat chipped. Look how what they're mixing with because of her name. If it was an Armenian name, they could catch it. If it was a British name, they could catch it. But the way certain Southeastern Asian names are said, especially in Chinese, they're better at Chinese, but it doesn't fit the Chinese syllabary. And so the search engine is just falling all over itself and showing what an idiot it is. And then I got to this one. Now watch. J-Pop Wiki, Gentle Gum. Caliber Equipment, Advanced Fang 20 Square Blade Gum Rubber, whatever that is. It just the search engine just really falls off the cliff right here. gum fang piercing on TikTok. You see what I mean by her name, which is six letters long in 3 syllables. Seven letters. Okay, but look at this one. What's this? "2023 officers. President Gum Fanum." So there she is. But what is this? What's Explore International? What is it? What are the events? Events overview. Known for our educational programming, Explore International hosts a variety of events designed to address the needs of our members and industry at large. They still haven't said who they are. Explore programming is presented by subject matter experts from the end user to the vendor community, as well as industry. But what? With 20 leading edge exhibitors in the vendor forum. Vendor of what? So what I did is I said Google search. And there's Explore International, Explore Technologies, the first global company integrating vertical-specific software as a service, embedded payments, and commerce accelerating technologies. It's related to what that other company's doing. We help our customers achieve more growth faster. Embedded payments, commerce accelerating technologies, vertical-specific software as a service. That's what that other company, Doxim, does, essentially. We provide the support and expertise administrators and educators needed to run their centers smoothly, customer centers, improve family engagement, and deliver the best educational field services, fitness. Oh, but this is like a, what is this? Did I get off on the wrong thing? Explore Technologies, Software, and Payments. We are the first global company integrating smart software, seamless payments, and commerce accelerating technologies. We help our customers. So it sounds like they're in the same business. But then when I was in that other, I saw a paragraph like this. It's still Explore International. Now we're talking about Explore, and something interesting happened. Explore International, also known as Explore and the Electronic Document System Association. is a not-for-profit association. Remember, She's was the president last year, or still is, aside from her job at Doxim. Dedicated to education, evolution, and success of the customer communications management industry. So there are multiple companies that do this, and this is how they get together socially, so to speak. But we want to go to the history. And now we're in the Wayback Machine. Explorer began as the Xerox 9700 user group in the late 1970s, becoming a not-for-profit association in 1981, opening the doors for other vendors to participate. What's the Xerox 9700 user group? That's what I started to chase. Do you know the name Xerox? Fault code 05126000 or lines on copy and prints. There's actually something there, but it doesn't go anywhere. And then we got the Wikipedia article. The Xerox 9700. And then it got, I thought, historically interesting. The Xerox 9700 was a high-end laser printer manufactured by Xerox Corporation beginning in 1977. I remember the Xerox machines from back then. Yeah, I'm old enough. Based on the Xerox 9200 copier, the 9700 printed at, an amazing 300 dots per inch on cut sheet paper. What does that mean? You ever go to like the Walmart store and you buy a ream of paper to feed through your laser printer, which I got right over there? That's what they mean by cut sheet. At up to, but it's off of a roll and then they cut the sheets. 300 dots per inch, which means they could have fairly good black and white pictures, on cut sheet paper up to 2 pages per second. That's even faster than my laser printer over there. And it could do it on one side or two sides. That is simplest and it could do either landscape or portrait. Now those things are a given today, but we're talking about in the 1970s. Now, here's where it got interested and relates to why she's a part of that organization that was descended from a user group for a commercial laser printer product from 47 years ago. Top speed, 120 pages per minute. This particular model was intended for high volume applications. It included a disk drive. Remember I told you I started programming a kind of personal computer that you had to put together yourself in 1983, so this predates that. It included a disk drive and a modified Digital Equipment Corporation DEC PDP-11. I've actually seen a PDP-11. I've actually sat next to somebody using one. See how big that computer is? I saw it at NC State. So some kind of laser printer had a computer like that? Why? Now today it would just be a chip in there. right? The 9700 was, all right, it could connect to an IBM mainframe. In 1977, the IBM mainframes, you know how much main memory they had, which was hand-wired on toroids? Maybe as much as 4 megabytes. It could connect to an IBM mainframe via a parallel channel. What is a parallel channel? A serial channel is a pair of wires with digital communication. A parallel one is a ribbon cable where the signals are coming, the bit signals are coming with on and off on the wires next to each other. You know what a ribbon cable is, right? You know what that is, right? You're all computer experts, right? As a print controller and rasticizer, what's a rasticizer? Composes the image on the fly, a dot matrix image. Rasterization is the way the TVs used to be, with alternating scan patterns. It offered an input tray that could hold up to 2,500 sheets of paper, 20 pounds of bond, and an auxiliary input tray for an additional 400 sheets. It had 2 output stackers, each capable of holding 1,500 sheets. An operator control console consisted of a CRT, cathode ray tube, television, the old kind, display terminal, and keyboard. It optionally included a 9-track tape drive. That's where the data input would be if you weren't getting it off of a mainframe computer, which could be used to load documents for printing, to supply software and bitmap fonts, and run backups. The 9700 had separate imaging units on each side of the paper, which is why it could print front and back simultaneously, which allowed it, to print simplex or duplex with no decrease in speed. This is like caveman, emergence from the cave, after the caveman period in computers. The Xerox 9700 played a part in the beginning of the free software movement. In 1980, Richard Stallman, now he's a nasty word these days. You know the Brave browser that I occasionally... They kicked him out of what he was doing because of things he said. And so then he decided he was still interested in computers. So he put together the organization to create the Brave browser based on the... He was at the MIT AI labs. In 1980, Richard Stallman and some other hackers at the MIT AI, Artificial Intelligence, 1980, lab were refused access to the source code for the software of a newly installed Xerox 9700. Similar, they call them hackers. Stallman had modified the software for the lab Xerox graphics printer, a xerographic. Do you understand what that means? Do you understand how Xerox was a unique process? As I remember Xerox, what it is the paper goes in and it goes past something. Paper's an insulator. It goes past something that is in contact with the surface that's electronically digitized. And as it slides past this thing rubbing on the surface, there's plus and minus all the way across. So it puts dots of electrical charge on the paper. And if you could see it, it's an invisible image. And then it goes to the toner stage, and where there's a charge, a tone nanoparticle sticks there, and then it goes through something that heats and fuses it to the paper, and bingo, that's how you print the paper. That was the Xerox innovation. And what I'm describing to you, I haven't thought about since maybe 50 years. When I learned how it worked. The lab's Xerox graphic printer, a xerographic experimental raster printer, so it electronically messaged the user when the person's job was printed, and would message all the logged in users waiting for print jobs. You see, when I was using the mainframe to run jobs, you put in a card deck. But the computers were very slow in those days. So you didn't know how long you'd have to wait. Would you hang around there to see if the job would run and print out? Or would you come back later to check? There was no computer network around, so that like you're on a university campus, you go back to your office. In order to find out whether your job printed out, you had to go back to where you put the card deck in. And then look on the rack to see if the answer had come back from the mainframe. I'm describing stuff that doesn't make any sense today, right? I put as a comment earlier this week on someone's video when he was talking about IBM mainframes of the early 1980s, that I used to go over to the computing. There was a special place where faculty and graduate students could go to put in their mainframe programming jobs. But actually the way it worked was that the graduate students weren't allowed to go in there until after 9 p.m. It was for faculty during the day, and then graduate students were permitted to go in from 9. And I remember this gal who was running Pascal programs. I had never heard of the Pascal programming language. And I used to see in there, because I'm a night bird, and I would go in there after midnight, and she'd be napping on the bench, waiting for her job to run. And then she'd see if she got the programming right, and then she'd try to fix it. I'm trying to describe how it was in the 1980s and 1970s. And that's why it says here that this guy, Richard Stallman, said, I know how to fix this product and make it useful. We're an advanced campus at MIT, and we can have it ring a bell on the telephone to tell him to come and get his job if we ring it a certain way. That's what he's talking about. Experimental, all right, so it electronically messaged a user, faculty member, when the person's job was printed. I just explained that. But it's printed out on paper, it's on a rack, you have to go get it. And would message all logged in users waiting for print jobs if the printer was jammed. It would let you know that forget it for today. Not being able to add these features to the new printer, the Xerox 9700, was a major inconvenience because people were used to the way Stallman had fixed it up. As the printer was on a different floor from most of the users. This experience convinced Stallman of people's need to be able to freely modify software they use, and he launched the free software movement. Now this sounds like it's, but let's get a picture of the 9700. So there's let's see if we can get it to open in a new tab. That's why it's fuzzy. This picture is old. So they're saying this is the 9700 right there. Let's see if they can go to the article. That's at Xerox. And this is an old page. Xerox celebrates an innovation that transforms business communication. In 1969, in his lab in Webster, New York, Xerox engineer Gary Starkweather was challenged with improving the speed of early fax machine. His research led to an innovation of laser printing, which profoundly changed how people and businesses communicate around the world. How do you think they print all those bank statements? 40 years ago, the launch of the Xerox 9700, the company's first commercial laser printer, how the fax machine does it and how the laser printer does it are two different ones. I told you about the electrical charge. That's the fax machine, but the laser would put the pluses and minuses on the paper with a laser beam, which speeded it up. Got it? That was the change. 40 years, all right. First commercial laser printer gave rise to digital printing industry, which today generates more than 120 billion in global annual revenues. The 9700 also transformed office printing with generations of laser. In other words, it was a successful laser printer, and then they said, oh, we can even make it small enough that you could afford to buy it for your computer at home in the 1990s. And multi-function devices using this technology. Now here's the key thing. Last year, Keypoint Intelligence cited the 9700 as the product that heralded the third wave of industrial automation, computer-driven printers. After steam, now I got to this paragraph and I couldn't believe it. This is why you let your mind wander. Last year, Keypoint Intelligence, which is some kind of online guide, cited the 9700, Xerox 9700, as the product that heralded the third wave of industrial automation, computer-driven printers. After steam-powered presses in the early 1800s and electric-powered presses later that century. And I went, steam-powered presses? Steam-powered presses in the early 1800s? What are they talking about? So it's a Wikipedia article about printing press. Patented in 1810, Koenig had designed a steam press much like a hand press connected to a steam engine. Remember what the Gutenberg one was? The first production trial of this model occurred on April 1811. And here it is. There's a steam-powered printing press. You mean doing things like printing newspapers in New York City was a big business? I'm assuming that's what they might have been used for. Steam-powered? And then you can see, now let me just say it. 2 miles down the road at the textile mill complex that was in Franklinville, the first looms and stuff were powered by belts driven by a water wheel. And then after the development on things like steam engines that were smaller than locomotives, they switched over to being driven by steam engines. And then they switched over to electric motors, General Electric, 1900. That was for textile machines, and that's something I know about, even with the museum down there. But you see how steam-driven got into more than just trains? It got into, among other, not just textile machines, but printing presses. Now, this is just letting your mind wander. I'm not going to go into all the details of this. It's just that by 1800, Lord Stanhope had built a press completely from cast iron, which reduced force required by 90% while doubling the size of the printed area, with a capacity of 480 pages per hour. The Stanhope press doubled the output of old-style press. Nonetheless, the limitations inherent in the traditional method of printing became obvious. The two ideas that altered the printing press radically is first, the use of steam power for running the machinery, and second, the replace of the printing flatbed. You have a flatbed with all the stuff set up. You put the ink on there, you put the paper, and then something comes down and does this. You lift it up and you pull the sheet out and it's printed. But to replace that, besides the steam power, the second replacement of the flat printing bed with a rotary motion cylinder. And that's what was in this thing. It not only was steam driven, but you can see that there's a round cylinder instead of a flat bed printing like Gutenberg did. And what was the third wave? The laser printer, the 9700. Look, the idea of letting your mind wander around and just kind of follow things. See, this is the Gutenberg press. Can you imagine what it was like trying to print books that way? Do you see how they're? This is the die that has the image, the prints. You see that they're sopping it up with ink, and then this is going to go over on top of it. That's the paper, and actually they may have had multiple sheets there, and the ink saturates through. It's porous,